Hi, I'm Claire Dyer and welcome to Dyer Consequences here on Unprecedented TV, the place for free speech, uncensored and unfiltered, where we will talk about the issues they don't want us to talk about. You can find us on YouTube and X. So if you haven't already, please do like, subscribe and turn on those notifications so you will never miss an episode. Here, we dive into the stories shaping our communities and the people fighting to make a difference. Today, we're confronting one of the most urgent and heartbreaking issues that is facing our streets, and that is knife crime. Across London and UK, it's a crisis that continues to claim young lives, tear families apart, and leave communities living in fear. The numbers keep rising, but behind every statistic is a story of loss, of survival, and of resilience. Joining me today is Courtney Barrett, a passionate campaigner and founder of the campaign Binning Knives Saves Lives, also known as the Knife Man, who's been working tirelessly to raise awareness, support those affected, and push for stronger action and understanding. We'll be talking about what's fueling this epidemic, how it's impacting people, and what can be done to stop the cycle of violence before it starts. So I'd like to welcome to the show Courtney.
Hello, Claire. Hello, everyone.
Hi, thank you so much for coming on today. It's good to see you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Right. So first of all, I kind of want to ask you, because I always find that everyone that I speak to, what they are campaigning about, it normally goes back to something personal that got them campaigning in the first place. So I want to ask you what it was that made you start campaigning against knife crime on our streets.
Well, this is one of the most common questions that I'm asked. Basically, in around about right at the end of 2018, there were loads of stabbings and lots going on, violent stuff going on, especially in my borough, which was the Waltham Forest, where I lived at the time. It was, I think it was the second worst borough. It might have been the first worst borough, but I think it was the second worst borough after Croydon in London for knife crime. And basically, there were 260 police officers in my borough, and overnight there were only 80 police officers all of a sudden. And there were also 4 police stations in my borough, and overnight there was only 1 police station, and it was just seemed crazy that all our police have disappeared whilst the violent crime was literally skyrocketed, you know. And it was just blatantly obvious that if we're going to do anything to save our youth and make our communities safe, keep our communities safe, that we have to unite as a community to do so, you know, because there's not enough police around, you know, to police the community anymore.
I do feel that that is a general consensus with everything, that communities are having to really try and pull together and actually police their own streets now. Even community has talked about how we feel that the men who live in the community should start just patrolling the area just as a visual presence, because there isn't enough police. I'm going to get straight to the point, and I'm going to confront the elephant that's in the room, because we want to dispel the myth that is that knife crime is a black crime. And why do you think media and society are continually portraying it that way?
Okay, well, let me tell you what happens. First of all, before we start, let me just let you know that most knife crime committed in England and Wales, that's not including Scotland. Sorry, not most knife crime. Around about 74%, 75% of knife crime in England and Wales is committed by white people. The problem we have is that in city areas, there's more of an influx of ethnic people, especially London. And the media, to sell papers and stuff, they concentrate on London, and they know that black crime sells papers, you know. So you'll have maybe a stabbing down the road that's a white person, and it might be in the paper. If it is, you'll see a certain headline. But if it's a black person that stabs someone down the road, it'll be a headline, and it'll be calling the person a thug and this, that, and the other. They describe them differently. The media treat them differently. And the media are more prejudiced than anyone, you know. because it's a business. Everything's a business. So it sells. So all you ever see on the news and in the papers, most of the time, are black crimes. And black crimes being reported and that. So for the rest of the people that don't live in the city areas, that's all they see. So that's what they think they know, because that's all they see. That's what they're fed. When the facts are that about 74% of knife crime in England and Wales is committed by white people, but the general public don't know this because this isn't reported.
Yeah. Did I read that? Is it something like? Was it 15,000? Is it knife crimes a year? Is that the correct number?
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you off my head right now, but I know that figure that resonates with me for another reason, because I remember, I don't know about this year, but a few years ago it was 15,000 and something school children were caught with knives in schools. That's how many school kids were caught with knives. And it's crazy to think 15,000 school kids are caught with knives in a year.
That is crazy. And is this a selection of knives that you have obviously handed into you?
Yes, these knives we get. What we do at Binning Knives Saves Lives, we obtain knives by various methods. The method that the media always focus on is the knife being on the streets, but we also go from door to door, which spreads awareness to parents who are they're clueless. They don't know anything because nobody's educating anybody. So parents are clueless, youths are clueless. So we go around door to door and educate the parents. We go and do talks in schools and youth centres and whatnot, and educate the youths. It takes me 2 minutes, not even that, when I knock on somebody's door. The person will be clueless. You give them a few facts and figures, and all of a sudden they want to bin their excess kitchen knives, because 70% of knife crime is committed by using kitchen knives. And kids are scared at the moment, and they're taking. Some kids are scared. Some kids think it's a fashion. So a lot of kids are taking knives from kitchen drawers, putting them in their school bags, and taking them to school. Do
you think that with the rate of sort of bullying and also online bullying that is going on now, that a lot of children are now obviously having knives on them as a form of protection as well?
Yeah, this is exactly what's happening. It's not just children either; it's adults as well. The amount of, especially men around my age, around 50 years old, they've given up hope on the police. They want to defend themselves if something happens. That's what they think. That's their mindset. Which is the wrong thing to do, because if you carry a knife, you've got about an 80% more chance of being involved.
Yeah. In a
becoming a victim,
Or becoming a victim. Yeah. Do you think that if we didn't have such sort of stringent gun control laws, that we would be substituting knives for guns like they do in the US?
I've never really thought about gun laws. I kind of think about things that are actually there in front of you. Gun laws, it doesn't concern me because we don't have gun laws. What does concern me are the amount of guns that are in our country and on our streets, considering we don't have gun laws, especially the amount of those guns that come from police. It can only come from the police, So how are the criminals getting these guns from the police? This is what's worrying for me.
So along with your campaigning, the studio did pull up a video just now. They were just playing a video a minute ago. If they can bring that back up, and we'll play that, because I believe that is to do with you obviously retrieving knives and taking them to City Hall, I believe.
Okay.
He's doing so terribly wrong. He isn't doing anything. That's what's so terribly wrong. Even the fact that we're all here today, he's in that building and he hasn't even come out to say a word or anything, not even to accept a letter from victims of knife crime who have been unsupported for 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, was it? You heard from the lady herself, the mother of Ricky Hayden. No support whatsoever. When she did get through after 3 years, she was called in and sat there and told to come back, or they contacted her, and no one ever did. She's just been ignored. This is London. People getting stabbed every day. Nobody's doing nothing about it. Nobody cares about it. So we've got to start caring about it and doing something about it ourselves as a community.
So where were you that day, and who are you referring to?
Okay, so that was outside City Hall, the old City Hall. And I was referring to Sadiq Khan, the London Mayor. We turned up there, we had an event, he knew about the event, he was invited to the event, as were other MPs. Farah London joined us. She's a political figure who was a mayoral candidate. Sean Bailey, Conservative MP, joined us. So we had loads of bereaved mothers, including Jodie Chesney's mum, and Ricky Hayden's mum. And Jodie and Ricky's mothers had written a letter for Sadiq Khan, and we also had 11,000 knives that we wanted to hand in to Sadiq Khan to show him that London isn't safe. And he refused to accept the letters, and he refused to accept the knives. You know, and he didn't even come out and say a word or anything, you know. And these people who are the most unluckiest people in our society, and who are Londoners who he's supposed to represent, who he's been on the news claiming to support.
We're going to play the next video, which I believe is when you tried to hand the knives into City Hall. If the studio can put that up, please.
Collected from the streets of London that we're going to be giving to Sadiq Khan today. We don't feel that he's been doing enough to reduce knife crime in London. We're sick of the state of our streets in London, and we're sick of families, victims of knife crime, who aren't getting any support whatsoever. So that's why we're here today.
So all of those knives were knives that were handed into you?
Yes, they've all been, they've either been taken off from gangs or from people on the streets who've come and handed them into our amnesty bin, or they've been handed in from going door to door from people's kitchen drawers. So there's different ways we get knives, and from different people in society. So door to door, we target parents. On the street, we target everybody. And then with gangs, obviously, we target gangs and youths and that, you know. But they're all knives that we've got from all our collections.
How do you manage to get people to hand these knives in? Do they just do it anonymously, or?
Well, this is the thing.
It's almost like an admittance, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's almost like an admittance. It's like, oh, have you got a knife you're going to use in a crime? I'm making a bit of a joke out of it. Like, oh, yeah, here we go, and hand it in. How do you get them to hand them in?
This is how it is, yeah. Not whenever, but a lot of time I post stuff. And you always, now and then you get a comment, oh, doesn't matter, it's not the knife, you have to educate them, this and the other. But everyone always focuses on the fact that we get knives off people. But the reason why we get knives off people, and so many knives off people, whether they're gang members, mothers, or youths, is because we educate them. You know, education is key. You know, we educate them. We don't take knives off people. We educate people and give them the choice to bin their knife. That's what we do, you know.
I think we're going to put up the next video of what happened. I believe, was it this same day when you went to give that bin full of knives?
Okay, that's not a problem. That's not a problem.
No surprise.
What should you recommend me put them back on the street? Calm down. Give them back to people. We've got them off. Is that what you recommend?
Believe.
It's just you're not accepting that 1100 knives. Okay, that's not a problem. That's not a problem.
I think we're having a problem.
What should you recommend me put them back on the street? Calm down. Give them back to people. We've got them off. Is that what you recommend?
So there you have a bin full of 1,100 knives. We had pre-arranged to hand them into Sadiq Khan. We invited him to the event, and you saw Ricky Hayden's mum there with the letter in her hand. And I think he's absolutely disgraceful that the London Mayor hasn't come out to even acknowledge Jodie and Ricky.
So she's obviously, she's a mother of a child. You know, she lost a child to knife crime.
Yeah.
And he refused to come out.
Yeah. And the thing is, With a lot of the bereaved families' cases, as is Ricky's case, it could have been you, it could have been me, it could have been any of us. The guy was at home in bed sleeping. Somebody tried to rob the moped from their front garden at about 1 a.m. Come out to have a look, and you end up getting stabbed. Your dad gets stabbed. Your dog gets stabbed. That's, and no one seems to care. No one does nothing. It's all in the papers, and then after that, it's all forgotten about. And people promise the world, but they promise the world, but they just lie. Sadiq Khan has had Susan in the office because she fought her way to get into City Hall to speak to him. He promised the world and didn't even get back to her.
And this is what I find so shocking, and what I can't understand, that you have people in power like the Mayor of London, and he is confronted on this in the GLA all the time about the fact that crime as a whole is going up, that, especially knife crime is going up, and he refuses to acknowledge it. And it's the same with, we're just going to say exactly how it is, rape, grooming gangs. He refuses to answer, he lies. To me, that says that this is somebody, like you've just said, doesn't care. And if he doesn't care, and if across the board, in a way, our government doesn't care, how can we expect anything to change when it then filters down the line to our police and also our policies?
Well, it is changing. It is changing. It's changing drastically for the worst, and it's going to continue changing drastically for the worst. Yeah. And the country's going downhill, and it's only going to carry on until there's a revolution. Like, the people are already, like, a lot of the people in England, they've had enough. They've had enough.
I don't want to go back to the narrative just a little bit that is pushed out, because I don't like narratives. Yeah, there's Keir Starmer there, probably the worst Prime Minister we have ever had, but out of all the bad bunch. As I said, don't do politics, don't trust any of them. But how do you feel about Stop and Search? Because I am going to move on from this, but what is your feelings about Stop and Search?
Okay, Stop and Search. It's another question that I'm asked quite a lot.
Yeah,
I did write a newspaper article on Stop and Search, and Scotland Yard liked it so much they called me in, and then I started advising them on Stop and Searches and relationships with ethnic minority communities.
Right.
So, yeah, my stance on Stop and Search, basically, we need as much Stop and Search as possible. Nobody should have any problem with being Stop and Search, but they need to be done in the correct fashion. And just picking people randomly, because of their colour or whatever, is not on. They have to be done accordingly and correctly. And the thing is, if you don't do them correctly, you're causing more damage than good. I've seen so many Stop and Searches, and I used to record them a lot and put them online. And there's one in particular, I always remember that the boy looked about 8 years old, maybe 10. Yeah, and he was walking on his own, and his riot van pulled over. About 15 police officers jumped out and was all round him. The kid must have been terrified. So I quickly went over there. All the police officers know who I am. So straight away, once I got there, I was recording them at first, but once I got there, they all tried to be polite, and then they ran back in their van and went. Now, this kid was just left traumatised, probably hating the police now and scared of the police. He's done nothing wrong. He don't even, so they've just, they have a bad effect when they Stop and Search and it's not done in the correct manner.
The mainstream media seem to want to edit you out when you talk about things like this. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. There's some contentious subjects and points, and there's other political reasons, and I don't know. Each media branch has their own agenda. Some are politically motivated, and you can't trust anyone. You can't. That's how it is. But we can all see for ourselves. Trust your own eyes.
Yeah. I find it quite interesting that you say that when the police actually saw you and they knew you, they kind of just let it go, which would suggest that
they dispersed. They knew they was doing wrong.
Which would suggest the issue across the board a lot of people are kind of anti-stop and search because it can be abused. And, what you're telling me in this case, this particular incident, was there was absolutely no reason. They just chose to stop and search him based on the way he looked. And I'm guessing in this case, it was because of his ethnicity. But the reality is it can actually happen to anybody, can't it?
I grew up in an area, in a white area, Chingford, in the 90s, early 80s, late 80s. And I think there was probably a handful of black people around. And getting stopped by the police was a twice a day thing for me, just for walking down the street. So I'm used to it. And things have got better now. But it's still there. And there's still an element of gang culture with these police officers as well. So when they do get out of a vehicle to stop somebody, there's always a few of them, and there's one little kid, and you've got to be scared for the little kids. These are youths, they're children. No matter what's going on, whatever, they're children. You've got to remember they're children. And you don't know if they're innocent or guilty. So you can't treat them that way. It shouldn't be happening.
We're just going to go to a quick advert, but when we come back, we'll move on to what possible alternatives there are along with stop and search. But we're going to just take another look at another show on Unprecedented, which is Tim Scott Uncancelled.
Brilliant.
So that was Tim Scott Uncancelled here on Unprecedented TV, and you can catch that with all the rest of our shows. Welcome back, Courtney. I want to ask you, so we've talked about stop and search and obviously the issues that can arise there. What about knife arches and the metal detectors?
Knife arches and metal detectors, yeah, great. But why do we need knife arches and metal detectors before education?
I agree with that.
Okay, I know somebody, Harvey Wilgoose's mum, got a knife arch put into a school in Sheffield recently. Now, that's brilliant stuff by her, yeah. But unfortunately, why does it take someone's son to be murdered for a knife arch to go into a school? Well, if we know there's a problem that we need knife arches outside schools, why do we not know there's a problem that we need the education in the schools?
I agree. I mean, I always said it, it's every bit that you do, it all comes together. Not one thing is going to cure this. I've always said with everything, it is education, and it actually starts in primary school. But in the meantime, you have got a problem. You have got people having an issue with stop and search, whether it's based on the colour of their skin or whether the police that day just happened to be on a bit of a power trip or whatever, just any reason. People have got an issue with that. That with metal detectors, the knife arches as well, that if somebody was to sort of refuse to go through one, then you would be looking at that person to do the stop and search, because you think, well, why don't they want to go through it? They've clearly got something to hide, which could be then a deterrent for the police to just be pulling any random person over just because they looked the wrong way,
The thing is, in this day and age, we all know about knife crime. We know there's an epidemic. Everybody knows about knife crime. So if I'm walking down the road and I'm asked to go through a knife arch, I've got no problem with it, because I understand we need to be safe. It's the same way when I get on an airplane, I get stopped by security and searched. Thank you for stopping me and searching me and everyone else, so that we're safe.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm still here.
We both disappeared then.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying it's the same as if I go on an airplane. If I go for a knife, you have to go for a metal detector. You have to get searched to get an airplane. And I thank them very much for searching me and for searching everyone else and for keeping us safe.
So talking about your campaign, just explain a little bit about that, because you keep saying obviously it's about education, which it is. So tell me exactly, you know, what you do with your campaigning. So there's quite a bit involved, isn't there?
Yeah, we do a lot, and it is non-stop hectic, you know. But a lot of people say, "What's the cause of knife crime?" Or "How can you reduce knife? How can we stop knife crime?" There isn't one cause, and there isn't one way to reduce it. There are loads of things that have to come together, you know, to reduce it, and there are loads of things that's caused it. So at Billing Knives Saves Lives, we have 11 tactics that we use to reduce knife crime. So obviously we've got the knife amnesty bin that we go around with, but the best tactic and the best weapon to reduce knife crime is education. When I go to schools to mentor and educate youth, it is crazy how the difference in them from the moment I meet them, from the moment that I leave. And they continue it on, and they're really into it, and they want to be safe, and they want to keep each other safe, and it almost builds a bond and a unity between the school classes and the school children, you know. And the education, like I know I've been to a school and I've had two youths who I've worked with the Met Office and Yorkshire Police, and an organisation called NICI. Together, we created an anti-knife crime app to keep families safer. This is kids that were laughing and joking when I first walked in the classroom, didn't have a clue about knife crime or safety. They just thought it was all funny and stuff, you know. And the education is crazy what it can do for the children, and it gives them a sense of unity, a sense of hope, and a sense of ambition and achievement, you know. And I'm so proud of some of the kids that I've mentored, honestly, and even gang members as well. We've taken them off the streets, put them into courses, into workplace placements. They've all done amazingly, you know, and kept out of trouble, and they earn a wage, and they're part of the community and contribute to the community, you know. So it's education that does this, you know.
Though, you know, because obviously teenagers aren't the easiest children to reach. I have 5 children of my own, and I quite often find that what I say goes in one ear and out the other. How do you actually reach them? Because you're saying education, but how do you actually reach them to the point where they listen to you and they're not throwing chewing gum at you from the back of the class?
I'm human, yeah. My kids don't listen to me either, yeah. But I have a knack with other kids and people, especially those who are less fortunate. When I'm not a professional, I'm not a police officer, I'm not a social worker, I'm not a teacher. Nobody respects these people. The youth don't respect these people. I speak their language, you know, and they respect me, and I give them hope. They see I'm genuine. You know, and that's all you need. That's all you need. You just need to be genuine and give them some hope. You know,
I think there would be, if there people watching this would think, you know, they might actually have a teenager, you know, that's kind of in with the wrong crowd, because there's probably, you know, lots of reasons why young people and young adults turn to knife crime. And they're probably thinking, well, I don't know how to reach my child. You know, I don't know how to, you know, make them understand. So what are some of the basic sort of tools that you use to get these children to sort of understand what it is you're trying to say to them?
Well, there's two things going on at the moment. You've got your kids who are carrying knives for bad reasons, yeah. And then you've got your kids that are carrying knives because they're scared, you know, or because they think it's fashionable or whatever, yeah? So there's different reasons that kids are carrying knives, you know. You'll find that the kids that are scared, so if you're somebody who's got a kid who's a bit placid or whatever, I'd usually advise you to lower the content of your knives, your sharp knives in your house to those that you only need. Check them every day. Check your kitchen drawer every day, and check your kid's bag now and then, and your kid's bedroom now and then, just to make sure your kid's safe. You know, you can talk to your kid about knife crime. I also suggest, like I said to you, my kids don't listen to me. Kids don't listen to their parents. You know, you still come in that bracket of teachers and police officers and stuff. They don't listen to you. So with my kids, if my kids was that way, carrying a knife or something, I would suggest, yeah, to take them along to somebody like myself or somebody who you know is a mentor. Like you go to a boxing gym or somewhere where you can talk to someone who knows the real deal and get the kid into a different path in life. So say they get up every day and they've got nothing going on because there's not much in the community for kids to do no more, let's face it.
That's
So
true.
they just start hanging around and getting into trouble because they're bored. And that's where it all starts, and it starts going from there. But if you get your child into boxing or martial arts or football or music production or cookery, whatever it may be, you know, it gives them something else. And the group that they do it with, they unite as a family, you know, and it gives them a focus and it keeps them out of trouble, out of the way of people who are trouble, you know. This is what I advise, you know, a lot of parents. With their children, because you need the mentors. It's the mentors who can make a difference. You know, you need the strong male role models in your community. They're the people that you need your kids to be seeing and getting help from. You know.
Yeah. I also understand as well as part of your campaign that you have introduced, is it bleed kits? So that's part of your campaign and your fundraising to get these into the community, a little bit like defibrillators, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this is one of our tactics. So you've got the Daniel Baird bleed control kit. It is a life-saving piece of equipment. When Daniel Baird was murdered, his mum came out with these, and they have saved so many lives to the point where every ambulance in the country now has one of these, and this is what they use. So when you get stabbed, pardon?
So what is it? What is part of this bleed control kit?
Okay, this bleed control kit, it contains everything you need if you've got a serious bleed. So if you get stabbed, if you're in a car accident, anything like that, it's got your tourniquet, it's got everything in there, your chest compression thing and all that kind of stuff, bandages, everything's in there you need, even a pair of scissors to cut your jeans off and stuff. But the point of these is that they have them in the ambulances. Now, if you were to get stabbed on the street or anywhere and call it, the passerby finds you, you've been stabbed and someone calls an ambulance, the ambulance is going to take about 15 minutes to get to you on average, by which time you'll be dead because you'd have bled out. You bleed out in about 5-6 minutes. With these bleed kits, if there's one of these within a few minutes away from you, these are registered with the London Ambulance Service or with whatever ambulance service in your area. Now, if the passerby phones 999 and you're stabbed, what will happen? The operator will tell you there's a bleed control kit in the shop down the road or in the pub round the corner, and they'll stay on the phone with you and direct you to that business, and they'll stay on the phone with you till you get back to the victim and stop the bleeding and save the guy's life until the ambulance arrives. That's the point of them. And when they tried this in America in a state for 1 month, it proved to reduce fatalities by knife crime by 90%. So they're essential life-saving bits of equipment that we need all over the country. We need them in as many places as we can, you know.
Yes. So are these all quite widely circulated already?
Well, up till now, Been in Knives Saves Lives, we've installed around 400 around the country. I've also inspired so many other groups to start doing the same. So now there's loads of other groups around the country who are putting these bleed kits out as well. So it's brilliant.
Was this all done through your fundraising?
Yes. Basically, we've never been funded at all. We've never had a penny, so I paid for it all out of my own pocket, basically. But I've had about, I think it was 2,800 in donations as well. But that was for other things, that the donations and the money that I spent. The money for these bleed kits that I've already put out there actually came from a company. I don't want to name the company because they asked to be unnamed, but they are a massive chain. and we put hundreds of them in their pubs all over the country. That narrows it down now. But yeah, we put hundreds of them in their pubs all over the country.
I think there wasn't the first one is put in a pub in Dagenham.
Yeah, before we started with that pub chain that we done with, I was putting them out myself. So yeah, I did put one in Dagenham, in the pub called the Beacon Tree.
That is amazing, really, because there's not many campaigners that actually get the support, say, even at times from the police, London Ambulance, other businesses to help with a campaign like this. So you're obviously doing very well at what you do with this and getting a lot of support to carry on continuing doing what you do. I'll be honest, I hadn't actually I haven't heard of these bleed kits, and I haven't actually seen one, so I don't think we've even got them where we are, but I definitely think that's something that every community does need. Can they be fitted into a defib stand?
You do very rarely, but you do see them defib stands with the bleed kit next to it. The company that makes them and does all the defibrillators and the bleed kits is called Turtle Medical, and they do different variations, but they're quite expensive to have the actual boxes that you can see out in the public. We don't buy them because they cost a lot of money, so we just buy the actual bleed kits and we install them behind the bars or behind the counters in shops or wherever we can, but to install it out in the public, you need to get the permission first, and you also need a lot more money for the actual box that it goes in,
Right. Okay. How much does each one of these actually cost?
The kits plus with the tax total, I think it's £114.
Wow.
That's for one. Yeah.
That is a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot. It is a lot until you get stabbed and you need it. £114, nothing then,
It's not. It's just that you would think there would be more sort of funding going towards this, knowing that a knife
when there's people wasting billions on cycle lanes and stuff that we don't even want, and roadblocks and stuff like that, you'd think that we could get a few grand chucked into a few bleed kits to save people's lives in it. But obviously lives don't matter in London no more, roads matter. I don't know.
I laugh because what you've just mentioned as a comparison is obviously something quite personal to me, because it's something that I do actually campaign against all the time. The cycle lanes, the war on the motorists, Les, and
I think every Londoner feels like a campaigner now, because we're all against it. I think everyone feels like a campaigner now. Honestly.
True. Everyone is now having to campaign against something because there's so many things that we're unhappy at. And I don't attack the Met Police, but when you're telling me that Sadiq Khan wouldn't even step outside, he wouldn't even take these knives, like, you're literally doing the job for them, and there's a lady standing there with a letter, and he even got the heart and soul. Yet he has used his police to escort Taylor Swift to and from a concert as a priority. And when it comes to Les, and we're not going to make it about Les, but the police are regularly called, week in, week out, because it serves a personal, political and financial purpose. And yet, as I say, you have people's lives at risk here. You have an epidemic that people are telling you about all the time. Your own GLA members are telling you, and you are ignoring it.
Still there saying London's safe, This Saturday just gone. Sorry, I can't hear you. I didn't hear that.
Deluded. I mean,
the delusional man. Yes.
Facebook, he's always just stopping for a coffee, a takeaway coffee, whilst walking the dog. And there's Swift who gets the 5-star treatment.
Like honestly, if you look down these social medias, like, you can keep scrolling and scrolling. You'll scroll forever until you see anything about safety or knife crime. Honestly, you won't see anything. You'll see all roads and charges and all that, but nothing about knife crime or our safety.
I just think this man's had too much coffee, and he's high on coffee all the time, and he's not of sound thinking, because you know, it makes sense to absolutely everybody else. You know, say we just had Taylor Swift there when we're discussing knife crime, because of that ridiculousness of it, that she gets, you know, a police escort, and there's not enough police on our streets, and you know, and he's not even addressing crime rate as a whole, let alone the fact that lives are being lost and those lives are going up year by year.
I know.
Why?
The thing is, I work with these mothers and the families. They're all bereaved, and their lives are ruined. They're living lives of torment and torture every day, you know. And every time I see them, you feel like crying for them, you know. And I don't get why these people aren't getting any help, and why nobody's doing anything about the knife crime and all the dangerous crime and violent crime that's going on. You know, it
just seems to be happening across the board. You know, whatever it is, somebody is a victim, and it's bad enough, you know, as you're saying, these mothers, you know, they've lost a child or a relative or, you know, whoever, and they've got to go through dealing with that. But what's even worse is that there are no answers. You've got people in power not doing anything about it. You're being ignored, and you're asking why. Why, for what?
Yeah, but we're just continually ignored. I've been ignored for years by Sadiq Khan, you know. He dodges me, he hides from me. I've been to his doorstep twice. We had the event on Saturday, just gone. Lots of bereaved families came from around the country. Mr. Alex Wilson, AM, Assembly member, he joined us. Keith Prince, AM, he joined us. It's very nice of them to join us and show that they care and want to support these bereaved families, you know. But it's sad to see that our own mayor, our own London mayor, didn't turn up to even say a few words or anything.
Do you? I was just thinking of how to word this. Why do you think that is? Your opinion in your mind. Why do you think he's continually ignoring this and ignoring you?
He's continually ignored me because I embarrass him, because I achieve results that he can't achieve. And the thing is, he's clueless. He literally is clueless about knife crime. He doesn't care about it to even want to know about it. I'll tell you something I haven't told many people, actually. One of his violence reduction team actually came, I think this was in 2020. They saw the great work that myself and Binny Knives Saves Lives were doing, and he came and wanted to be with us and didn't want to be with the violence reduction team anymore. And he basically whistle blew about the mayor to me, you know, but I never really told anyone. But this is the whole mayor. The whole London Mayor thing for years has been a joke, and I've been calling him out all the time. Yeah, and he doesn't like it, and it's to the point where even the police officers at Scotland Yard have jokes with me about how I push it to the limit with the mayor. You know,
they know then, and you know,
everybody knows. Everybody knows. The whole of Scotland Yard knows. I'll tell you that for a fact, mate.
And yet he has full control of the Met Police. But, you know, I'm actually just going to throw something out there, which was something that we said at the beginning. He clearly ignores you and can't deal with you because you call him out all the time. And
I'm not a professional. I don't have to stick by media guidelines and all that. I say how it is, and I speak facts as well. So you know, he hates me.
But you know what? He can't shut you down though, because
how
he shuts everyone down is by calling them racist.
You can't shut me down. I'm not, you know, I'm not racist. I'm realist. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say how it is. And the reason that I've got so much support is because I say how it is and because I'm real and I'm genuine. You know, whenever I do interviews or speeches or anything at all, I've never written anything down. It's all from my head and my heart. Yeah. You know, I don't need to write stuff down. I don't need to beat about the bush. I don't need to lie. I say exactly how it is. You know, there's no benefit for me. The only people I want to benefit are the whole of London and all of the bereaved families to get the support that they deserve.
Yeah, you know? And the people, because you care about people. But on the flip side of talking about support, wasn't it Waltham Forest, the council? They tried to fine you for littering because people were putting up your flyers about.
Right, let me tell you how it was. obviously, I started in my first borough when we launched Billing Life Saves Lives. When I started, I emailed the council, and they gave me permission to put my flyers up, my posters up here. So I went out with some of my team for about a whole week straight. We was plastering these flyers all over the borough. And then we plastered them over the borough. We had a couple of events. We done amazingly. After 6 months, knife crime reduced by 34%, whilst it rose in every other borough because of our efforts. And they were totally embarrassed because we were doing what they were supposed to be doing. And then from that moment, they tried, what happened, Stella Creasy, the MP for Waltham Forest, ignored me. And then she went in the paper and said that, no, I'm lying. So I then went to the paper and showed them the emails and my missed calls, the call attempts, and proved that she was the liar. And they put that in the paper. From that day, she got her online army to hate me and try to demonise me and tried every trick in the book to shut down Billing Life Saves Lives. Then they tried to fine me. They tried to fine me £600 times however many hundreds because basically I had a big event with Sean Bailey and the Sun newspaper were filming us, and the top police officer was joining us, and Farrah London was joining us, and they was coming on the event with us. So we put up the flyers as we always did because we were told we were allowed to. And after the event, the council sent one of their people out to take one of the flyers down, and then they decided to try and tell me that I have to come in for an interview with the police. They're going to arrest me, and they're going to fire me. And I then emailed them and told them, you're fine to arrest me. I'll be there on a given date and time. I'll be there with a reporter from the Sun, as I'm allowed one person in the interview with me. And you're about to make a national embarrassment of yourselves. 2 hours later, I got a response saying they're dropping everything. So that was it.
All right. So you basically put them right in their place then.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We really have. It's gone quite quick. But what message would you actually give to people from all backgrounds who might feel that they are caught in the cycle of knife crime or, in that environment? What message would you send to them on a final note?
For those guys who think they're in that kind of lifestyle, believe me, give me a shout. billingknifesaveslives@gmail.com. I can help you out. We'll get you some work. We'll get you onto a course. We'll do something. Trust me, we'll get you out of that lifestyle. For those who aren't into that lifestyle, make sure you stay safe. Keep your wits about you. Don't carry a knife to protect yourself because it'll put you in danger of being stabbed. Honestly, the best thing to do is stay clear. If you see anyone with a knife, stay well away from them and let an adult know or let somebody know in authority know. Yeah.
In some cases, sometimes the one that's actually in possession of the knife ends up being the one stabbed with it.
This is what happens. What happens? All right, let me tell you. Imagine a kid who's a bit shy. He gets bullied all the time on the way to school. So today he's thinking, I want to carry a knife to protect myself just in case. The just in case happens. He pulls the knife out. He's got 66% more chance of being stabbed with that knife himself. He's never used a knife before. He will freeze when it comes to time to use a knife, whereas his attacker or the bully will probably be more inclined to get the knife off him and stab him with his own knife. This is what happens about 2/3 of the time.
Right. Well, thank you for coming on today. You need to keep me updated with your campaign and any future demos that may come up, because if I can...
will do, Claire. Don't you worry about that. Thank you so much for having me. And please, guys, do donate to billingknifesaveslives@gmail.com. That's our PayPal, for bleed kits. We need as many as we can get all over the place.
Yeah, and if I can get to a demo, I certainly will. So please let me know, because listening to all of that, you are doing absolutely amazing work, and it seems that you've got a lot of support from obviously those in some authority, whether it's not our mayor or our government, but you're doing great. So thank you so much, and I'm sorry we've run out of time.
Thank you for having me. Take care, stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, you too. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. Knife crime continues to cast a long shadow over London and communities across the UK. But conversations like this one remind us that change is definitely possible when people come together, speak out, and take action. A massive, huge thank you to Courtney Barrett from the campaign Beanie Knives Saves Lives for sharing his insight, his passion, and tireless work in tackling this issue head on. He's achieving amazing things. And thank you to everyone listening. Awareness starts with all of us. If you have been affected by knife crime or you want to learn more about how to support prevention of the effort, then please contact the knife man, Courtney Barrett. You can just find him quite easily in a Google search. If you put in Courtney Barrett, the knife man, or his social media accounts do come up on there. So please let's keep this conversation going. Share this episode, talk about it, and be part of the movement to make our streets safer for everyone. So until next time, I'm Claire Dyer. This has been Dyer Consequences on Unprecedented TV on YouTube and X. Please follow, like and subscribe. Stay safe, stay aware, and keep looking out for one another. Thank you.